Gandy, thank you for coming through. Let's give, if you like, a lay of the land in respect to the attempts to try to get more black investment managers in the industry, but also at the same time, just increasing the numbers of players, especially the small boys who hopefully will be coming in with a lower request for fees, if you like.
Good afternoon to you, Godfrey, and good afternoon to the viewers at home. Thank you very much for that question. So maybe a starting point would be just to capture some bit of the statistics in terms of where we are as an industry. So you notice that currently, as things are, about 7 of the largest asset managers have got close to about 56, 57% of the total assets under management. If you add that number, increase it to about 15 asset managers, you suddenly get to a point where they've got a total command of about 90% of the assets in the industry. That then leaves more than 120, based on our last count, of your small to medium-sized asset managers having to wrestle amongst themselves for under 10% of the remaining assets. So certainly that's not a healthy position for any industry to be in. What we then decided to do is to step forward and level the playing field. And that's basically what we are doing with FundCraft.
Yeah, and we'll come to that and talk a little bit about that. I was going to say that, we often talk about the concentration that is found in South Africa's economy. I mean, you look around, or your big miners control the main metals of this country. You look at your retailers, it's your ShopRites, it's your Pick n Pays. The small guy struggles to make it in here. Wherever you go, it's certainly the big boys who are calling the shots here. And you're telling me it's the same within the investment industry. So let's talk about why we are in this position. How many years is it? 4 from 11 is what? 27 years after the dawn of democracy. We have not been able to create more fund managers within the industry. Is it resistance from the establishment, or perhaps, as some people allude to from time to time, it's a question of not having the right skill set that would allow them to be able to manage people's monies? What is the problem?
So it's certainly not the latter yet. But it's definitely a combination of other factors, and I'll kind of try and elaborate a few of them for you. Yes. So the first one is just the sheer number of boutique fund managers that are out there. So we're never really short of boutique fund managers. We have got lots of them. But then what has happened is that it has tended out to be quite maybe way too many for some of the investors, especially your institutional investors, for instance, and even the retail investors, to actually do the thorough work of researching out of these 100 or so that I alluded to earlier on, to then end up picking a couple of them. So it's not really about there not being talent. In fact, we have got lots and lots of talent. We have got actual excess of it, one would say. But if you ask me, it's the combination of what has gotten us to where we are now, 27, 26 years down the road, where we still have got dominance of the industry by a few big brand names, is that so a number of things. Well, the conversations have been taking place around allocating to boutique fund managers, around allocating to emerging managers. But those conversations have not been followed up on with actual allocations to those managers. Yeah. So that then got us to a point where we asked ourselves the difficult question: what could be the reason? So the sheer number is one of them. The second one is that it's quite easy to, when you are allocating to a big name, if you're a consultant, for instance, it's quite easy to have a conversation around the big names because they are already known by the trustees, for instance, right? So, and yet for a smaller manager, they are not as known. So what we are trying to do here is to say, let's create a platform where even the less known managers can actually stand shoulder to shoulder with your big brands that are already well known. So what we are basically trying to do is to get your small managers to stand on a pedestal where they can easily be noticed by investors.
How does that work?
So can you just repeat that question?
I was asking Godfrey? How that works. So how does the pedestal idea work?
Great. So what we do is we do all the heavy lifting of going out there and researching thoroughly the boutique fund manager space. And once we have done that, we then shorten the list of available boutique fund managers to a number. Our starting number currently is 30, and we intend to stick on with that. So we bring that number all the way from around 120 of the boutique fund managers that are there, and only listing about 30 of them. The 30 that we believe have got the potential to generate superior performance going forward.
Yeah.
And once we have done that, then we go to the investors. We are basically saying, we have already done the heavy lifting for you. We have already done the thorough work. Here is a set of 30 boutique fund managers that we believe have got the potential to generate superior performance for you going forward.
Sounds to me like you are saying that your word will then have to be taken by the big fund managers. So
our word we have to be taken by the investors who are looking into outside of investing into your usual large, long-established asset managers. Investors, what we are basically saying is based on our experience, based on our weight,